Doug was just released, so let's get to it. Hey guys, gals, and pals, my name is Alex, and I'm your professional yapper for today. Today we're looking at the August 15th update. Yay, it's not called the summer update anymore. We're told we've got a new game mode, plush, reject and charm, map, and bug fixes, of course. So, I have a lot of thoughts about this update. Let's start off with things that I liked about this update. Doug Zones. Doug Zones are very, very cool. I like the art and dialogue from Dexter that pops up. It explains how he works in a concise way, and then you're off to it. Another thing I loved. This map? Okay, how cool is it that the further you progress, the more gates around the railway turntable open up? That is such a cool mechanic! How many games do something like that? Name one, I want to play it! Besides that, the map just looks really good. It could use a little something here and there, but it's more polished. The developers and builders of the game just keep getting better with every addition to it, and seeing that firsthand is cool. The mechanic of these zones is great. I love how Doug's tunneling isn't overpowered, but it's not easy to avoid for long. The tunneling animation is cool for Reject Doug, and I like how it doesn't match his plush counterpart to avoid confusion. The stamina balancing changes are heavenly. Thank you. As a buddy main, thank you. If you're not sure what I'm referring to, every plush now has 50 stamina tacked onto their main stat. Prior to this, you only had the amount of stamina your plush's stat gave you. One stat bar is worth 10 units of health or stamina. For example, Buddy has 5 stat bars of stamina, meaning he had 50 stamina. Now he has 100, which, this is great because now he can have plushies with low stamina stats and they'll still be viable to play. That's exciting! Anyways, playing Doug's zones feel really good. Nice mechanics and execution. However, Doug's zones aren't a game mode. This is not a game mode. Wiktionary defines a game mode as a distinct configuration that varies gameplay and affects how other game mechanics behave. That's what a game mode is. Doug's zones are small events that switch up the gameplay loop every now and then. Game modes are like in Minecraft choosing whether to play survival or creative. Survival and creative are different game modes. Or playing a game that has double enemies but double rewards as opposed to the normal gameplay. That's also a game mode. Doug's Zone isn't a game mode because it's an event that can happen anytime during the run. It's the default experience, and it doesn't really fundamentally change the non-Doug zones. I notice how there's a bit of a continuing issue with Dolly's factory and communication. I implore you guys to investigate how to improve on that. Another thing that I think needs improvement is Doug's design. Before I get too deep into it, let me make a quick demonstration on designing a cast of characters. Here's our cast of characters. When we're trying to design a cast of characters, we not only want to make sure that they can stand alone and be a good design, we also want them to be able to stand all together and look cohesive, like they belong from the same piece of media. There's a few factors that can contribute to this working or not working. Here are a few. Saturation or colorway. Cinnabon's colorways in this example look way too desaturated against the environment and the rest of the cast. Proportion. In this example, Koda's proportional relationship between his body and head don't match the rest of the cast. Alone, he actually looks very proportional depending on what style you're going for, but with the rest, it doesn't quite work out. Style. In this example, Doug was drawn by my friend Spider. He doesn't look quite like he belongs with the rest of the cast because of the subtle differences in techniques of line work and coloring. The line weight too contributes to the factor. And finally, detail. Doug here in this example is... Oh, wait, what's that? I lied to you? Yeah, I lied to you. This is not Doug's design. This is Doug's design. Notice how I struggled drawing all of his details in a smaller space. He has 7 belts, a backpack and a satchel filled with tools, an argyle vest and hoodie with drawstrings, wavy embellished boots with an itty-bitty squiggle design. His design is just simply too much. And this isn't to insult or discourage the modeler. Breeze, you do fantastic modeling work. Doug is no exception. I mean, look at all of those details. This design could work on its own, but that's the issue. Doug isn't on his own. He's a part of the cast. Take a look at this picture of Buddy next to Doug. Not only does he have way too much detail against the rest of the cast, his head feels a bit too small and disproportionate. Here's Doug in-game with the rest of the cast. Again, his head feels disproportionate to his body compared to the others, and his level of detail makes him look cluttered and confusing to follow with the rest of the cast. I feel like this can be greatly improved by simplifying and removing details. Let me show you my design for Doug. Here I removed most of the belts, simplified his gloves and shoes, and removed his pattern and hood, because the drawstrings added clutter and I felt like he would be better suited with an undershirt instead of a hood. I also removed his satchel, but he would still wear his backpack. I didn't draw the back of him, but I don't think I'd change the backpack besides removing the tools in the side pockets. Or maybe allowing 1 or 2 to stay. I think the wrench could stay because it's on his charm art and I think it's a nice touch there. The goal was to strip as many as unnecessary details as possible while keeping Doug recognizable and cohesive with the cast. And I personally think this looks really well. Please steal this design. I'm begging you to, devs. I'm gonna put the before and after. Please let me know what you think, guys, and if you agree. Phew, now that that's over, I can go back to more things that I enjoyed. Doug's ability is so fun. I loved mastering this guy, and his charm is excellent. This is the type of stuff I love seeing. If you're not familiar with it, the backpack, Doug's charm, gives you an extra item slot and up to 2 more spaces to carry train parts. This is such a good charm. Also, I really enjoy seeing another working plush like Thim. The reason Thim and Doug differ so much from the cast aesthetically is because they have specific purposes. As we see from Reject Doug's description, all of the Dougs are responsible for digging the train tunnels, similar to how Thim is responsible for repairing plushies. They're not for show. They are sort of a behind the scenes of the factory and its inner workings, and I think that's some great world building. I also want to talk about Dexter changing. I was bracing for this, as I was told Dexter's crying Cinnabon face was a placeholder, but at the same time, his entire character did a 180. Dexter, previously appearing to be a timid, sad, and panicked character, is now a bit annoyed. He looks like he doesn't care for the plushies much. But I'm now finding out that his current face after the Doug update is another placeholder. It was a previously fan-made face drawn over Dexter's original faceless model before the crying Cinnabon face was added, made by a now moderator of the Dolly's Factory server, Sammy_arts. So, it could go either way. What we do know is that his sprite artwork is canon. This is him, folks. This is Dexter. Honestly, I'm not sure what to think right now because a lot of things are subject to change. The game is in testing and things will continue to change as the team gets feedback. But it seems like they don't really know where they're going. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But don't think I'm done here. I've got one more thing to talk about. Within the new Doug map, there's a poster that reads, "You're made perfectly," with an asterisk. And at the very bottom corner, if you clip your camera through the tape, you can just make out that it says, asterisk, by Dolly. Which, this original poster, ignoring the scribbled threat and rainbow substance, raises questions. Why would it say by Dolly specifically? We know that the plushies were brought to life by Dolly, but why would this poster have to imply that you're not made perfectly if you weren't made by Dolly? Now, onto the rainbow text and substance. There's a uniform rainbow spill coming from the door to the poster, where it looks like a message was written over the Dolly poster in the same substance. I'm still here. This actually differs from the message left on the small factory map above the clock, time to die, as that's written in black. I think this goes well with the theory that Reject Dolly wants vengeance. But how did she herself become rejected? She had to have been created. By who? All things to ponder. But it most certainly seems that Reject Dolly is at the forefront of whatever is happening against the factory. Reject Thim's description reads, "He's a soldier and he takes his job seriously. Now is no different. All of Dolly's enemies must be dealt with." Dolly's enemies? We know that Dolly is a benevolent being who doesn't know what's happening in the factory. And Reject Thim is attacking us, the plushies. Dolly wouldn't be against her own creation, would she? That likely means that the only other Dolly we know of, Reject Dolly, is responsible for all of this. All in all, this was a good-sized update with some great additions to the factory. Even if Doug's design isn't changed, I still love him in the way he has no clue what's happening. He doesn't have dialogue yet, but I look forward to seeing it when it's done. So, editing Alex here real quick. I just want to say that I have a very big project coming up soon. And that is probably going to be in about a couple of weeks. It's probably going to be done in a couple of weeks. I'm going to release probably 1 or 2 videos before then. But I wanted to let you guys know that something is in the works and I'm very excited about it. So, yeah. Okay, I lied again. There's actually 2 more things. There was a poster contest in the Dolly's Factory Discord server recently, and I submitted 5 designs, and they all are now in the lobby, so that's really cool. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you to everyone who hosted that and added those in the game. That's a very, very nice thing to do to give back to the community, and I am over the moon seeing my art in the game. That is such a cool feeling. And there's also a minor patch this morning for bug fixes, and now the train repair spawn rate is now 33% instead of 50%. So if anyone was worried about the train spawning way too much, that happened with me, yes, but I also assumed that they were going to bring it down as updates come out of other things, and they are. So, yay! That's all. That's about all I have to say for now. See ya!